Hey everybody, it's Erin Reed and welcome to Love from Lizzie. And today we're going to bring you the April kit on how to make 10 cards with one kit. There's amazing surplus of beautiful cards, and why don't you come join me as I make all 10. As always, links for how to get to this kit and all of the supplies from Love from Lizzie are going to be down below, so let's get started. All right, just jumping right into card number 1. So I went ahead and took the yellow cardstock, folded it in half, cut it down to be an A2 size, and I found this camera paper that I cut down to still leave a little bit of a border around the outside, and I'm going to ink it. Now, I've already put my tape on the back, but I do want to line this with a little bit of this ribbon. I'm going to pull out my best glue ever, which I'm going to use for pretty much all of these cards, beyond my Xyron tape runner. And I'm going to make sure that I get this right in the right spot. So I'm going to come in and add a little dab of glue, and just on the other side right here. And that is what's going to hold my ribbon to the card right here. Just this beautiful black ribbon. I've already kind of cut down to size, and then use that, and I've already added my tape to the back, or my adhesive to the back with my tape runner, so it's going to hold it in place. And to finish this off, I'm just going to come back in and add my hello. I love the way it looks just kind of popping on there. Not all cards have to be super fancy. We're going to make some fancy cards, but this one we're not going to. So I'm just going to add my little glue here, just putting it in a few places, that way everything will stick down. And there it is. So I'm going to put that off to the side. One thing I also do whenever I have a heavy embellishment is I will sometimes come in and just take a little jar or something and just rest it down, just to give it that extra something to help everything stick, because I've got lots of layers, especially with the ribbon there. It's just giving that a little bit of an extra something. All right, moving into card number 2. Now I found for some reason if I put a piece of white paper down underneath what I'm making, it's not so bright. So we're going to try that. Still working with this new mat. Okay, so I just took a piece of black cardstock, super simple, cut it down to make a vertical opening card, just like this, very standard card. And I love it when I come across just a piece of cardstock that I don't have to do much to, because it's already done all the work for me. I mean, it makes for super, super easy cards. I love that. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the edges here, just to give it that defining line. I'm also going to come in and I'm going to ink the edges of the little pieces. Now these little pieces came from the ephemera set that was in the kit, which is fantastic. So I'm just giving it a little bit of something just to kind of help them pop. And the first one is a heart, and I'm going to add it to the eye, because this says I am, to put like the top to the eye. It's supposed to be a capital I, but I love the look of the heart up here, making it look like it's the dot of the eye. It just worked for me. And then the bottom piece here says so happy. So I'm going to use my Xyron sticker maker to turn these two little pieces into stickers, just to make my life so much easier. Don't have to worry about, you know, trying to get my tape runner in there. Speeds up that process so much easier. Peel off the top plastic and just glue this part down. This piece of paper came here from, it was not quite an 8.5 by 11, but it wasn't quite, it's a very different size. There's a whole set of papers inside the kit that are 6 by 8 inches, which I think is fantastic, because you can cut it in half and still have another half, that's so crooked, that you can use for another section. So it's not a 6 by 6 where you're pretty much using all of it for an A2 size card. You can still get a good chunk left over for another piece. So there we go, we have that. And I think we're gonna do a few little Nuvo drops, these jewel drops. Now, before I do any drops, I'm just gonna double check and get the right consistency. There we go. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line the corners. I'm gonna add little drops right here in the corner. Just going 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna replicate it over here. 1, 2, 3. And that's why I like to practice it off to the side, just to get the pressure. And then what I do, just to be sure, is I take the back of my card, and I'm just doing this with my fingers, just to make sure that they're not dome-like anymore. And then that's it. They take about a day to fully set. So make sure you put this off to the side somewhere where it's not going to get damaged. And there is card number 2 done. All right, let's get into card number 3. So I've started with the pink background. We're going to have a vertical card this time, and I've cut off a piece of this cardstock that I love, all the little flowers and that pops of yellow. So I paired it with a piece of yellow that I trimmed down to be 3.5 by 3.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of everything right now. All right, so I've just pulled out a little pieces of stuff basically. The first step I'm going to do now is I am going to pop this up. So my trick is to actually use a little bit of cardboard. So I actually just snagged a little bit from the Love from Lucy box. We're going to go ahead and run a couple pieces. I'm going to use 2 for this. I like the thickness of the box paper that the kits come in because it's not super thick like other cardboard, but it's thick enough to give you a little bit of dimension. I'm just putting it through my Xyron real fast. I'm going to peel off the top, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and run it the other way around. I am going to trim a little bit off the sides here because it just makes it easier to run through. Basically what I'm doing is I'm giving it sticky on both sides. Your own way of making your own pop dots basically with cardboard. So now you just peel off the top, and you've got sticky here and it's sticky there. It's pretty awesome. I might have overdone it. Actually, I can probably tear this piece in half, put part here and part here, and then just lay that in there. I love the it's kind of black with flowers. It's almost mimicking it on this little piece right here. It's just something fun. I was debating if I wanted to ink this, but I think I want to leave that plain, and I'm actually going to turn this into a sticker, just make my life easy. I'm going to anchor the little envelope kind of down towards the bottom. Place the little banner on here. So this actually has a couple of different sentiments. This one says, following my heart, and this is, I'm choosing happiness. So it's got kind of a double meaning. I am then going to snag some of the hearts, because all the colors go together, and just create kind of a heart explosion coming out. I'm not going to pick the yellow because there's already enough yellow. And there it is, card number 3 done. All right, moving on to card number 4. This time I picked a fun bright green, just something different and cheery to have for the background. Cut that down to be an A2 size. It is vertical. I also cut a little bit of white, and again, I'm going to ink this paper before I stick it down. So I'm going to ink that real fast. And I'm going to go ahead and ink 3 of the sides on this real fast. All right, now on this paper, we are actually going to create, this is the back side of one of those 6x8 papers that we got. I'm actually going to create this into a banner. And I want my banner to be pretty equidistant. Now I've cut this down to be 1, 2, 3.5. So I'm going to put this, I use my cutting mat for measurement all the time. And basically I'm going to come in and I'm going to go 1 inch, and I'm going to go 1 inch. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to go a 1/2 inch, and then I find my center. I'm going to come up, I'm going to draw my dot. I'm using this line right here, which is another inch. If you go by centimeters, just be equidistant. It's the best way to do it. I have found that using my scissors for this is the best way to get good lines. Come in from the corner and just do a straight line until you hit that dot, which is your equidistant mark. And that's how you make a pennant. And that is the same process no matter what size pennant you make. If you have large pennants, small pennants, doesn't matter. All works the same. All right, I'm going to ink the inside of this now. Now, if you're not a fan of possibly having little mucky edges, or you're not an inker, there's 1, don't ink, or 2, you could use the edge of a black pen just to kind of give yourself a border. I personally like putting the ink down for a couple reasons. 1, because it gives me, almost looks like the illusion like there's a black mat on the paper. 2, because it also if something like, for instance, this had a little bit of a white edge, it cleans up that white edge. It also, for instance, for this particular one, because we're going to put this in here, there's that hint of black on there, and I'm going to add another hint of black, and I didn't want the black to look so awkward, so if I add a black border to my papers, it doesn't look so disjointed. So that's where that came from. All right, so this is actually going to get butted up right to the top, because then that leaves some space down here for me to put a stamp. And our little bicycle is going to go right there. So I'm going to go ahead and place my bicycle. I'm going to turn this guy into a sticker again too. It just makes life easy. I'm trying to get in with my tape runner. And I love these little ephemera pieces. It makes life so much easier. You don't have to worry about die cutting stuff out. Not that I don't love die cutting, I really do. But it's done for you. It's like stamped and colored in die cut images, pre-made. You can't knock that. I love that sweet little bicycle. It looks so cute. All right, I am then going to take my ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times. Now, last time I did it, I did glue. You could easily use glue. Today, I'm going to just, or this card, I'm using tape just to get it started. So I'm going to put the tape down right here, and it's just to hold it in place. This is a thinner ribbon, so you could use this with the previous card, the one I did earlier where I had the ribbon that went around the bottom, but I just find this is sometimes just easier. And then because it's such a thin ribbon, to get that glue in there would be a pain in the tuchus. And then I'm going to tape it down on this side. And I have no qualms about using tape on cards, because some people are like, acid-free. Well, to me, that only applies to pictures. I mean, half the stuff is not going to be acid-free anyway, so moot point. Flip it over, and I have a nice clean line. I love that it's kind of a little bit of a juxtaposition that's happening right there. And I want to add a little something up there. It feels like it needs something. I was thinking a bow, but I'm like, no, I have all these cool little things. Or I could add something from here. Haven't quite decided. I'm going to mull that over while I stick this down. Now we got these cute stamps in the card kit that are a whole bunch of sentiments. You, we, are, I, am, and then you can add whatever you want to. So I think it is, we're going to do you are simply perfect, but we're going to stagger them a little bit. So this is why I'm pulling out my Misty, because I do want them to be really precise in how I lay them down. What I mean by I can stagger it is because these pieces, and I want to fit it within my little chevron or my little pennant that I have here, I can put the you are, and this is why the Misty is very helpful, because I can place them on my card where I want them. And again, the black ink ties in with where I want, see, now I got to make sure I can read it. Sorry. Talking and I'm not paying attention to what I'm actually doing. The black ink also will tie in because I'm using the exact same ink with my the rest of the card, so it works together. So you are simply perfect, and it works. It fits nicely in there. If this was a stamp set that was already all put together, I would have a hard time fitting it in there, but since it's all mixed, I'm good. So you are simply perfect. We're going to put that in here, pop this down, ink it up, and stamp it. There it is. Now right here I have the Simply Perfect crafting pouch, and I'm just going to dab this over top. Basically it's going to help set that ink just so it doesn't smear. This is a pretty good ink, but I just want to make sure, because I can't fix that it doesn't smear. Basically it's just a little bit of powder, and now look, it's not smearing at all. I can just kind of wipe my hand and remove the powder, and it is set and it is not going to smear on me. Super cool. All right, the last little thing is I found this little flowers, this trio of flowers. I thought that was perfect to kind of put up there. I mean, just it hit the spot on this card. So I'm going to take the remnants of I have a little bit of that basically foam, not foam, but it's pop dot / made out of cardboard. And I'm going to place that. I did that for the previous card, but I didn't use it all. So I have a little bit left over, and I'm just going to rip it so that it fits behind so you can't see it from the front. Just gives the card a little bit of dimension, and it will also secure the ribbon, and the flowers match the flowers that are in the little basket. And there's card number 4. All right, so welcome to card number 5. I kind of got it started, and before I lose my train of thought, again, one of my favorite things to do before I rip it all apart, because this has just been kind of laid down, is to take a picture of it. So I'm going to come in and take a quick snapshot. Make sure I actually took the picture because I've done that before. I thought I've taken it and there it is. Yay! Because I have been stupid enough to thought I'd taken it. No. Okay, it's not quite where I want it to be, but I want to go ahead and build my layers. I love the look of it and I'm going to get it going. And sometimes when I kind of get it almost there, it speaks to me, I guess is the best way to describe it. Okay, I started off with one of the beautiful cardstock layers that we have. This is a glossy one. I just folded it in half and I'm going to distress everything. I'm going for a very shabby chic-y look, grabbing my scissors. I'm even going to distress the outside of this card. And all I'm doing is taking the edge of my scissors and doing this and rubbing it. And I'm not worried about if I put little dents and creases. To me, it's almost, it adds to it. I have been known in the past to actually get my paper damp, crumple it up, and get it really grungy, but I don't think I'm going to go there today. The downside of that method is it really makes everything kind of, there's lots of little pieces all over the place. Kind of muddies up your workspace. I am going to ink the edges of everything. Now, this paper has got a little bit of a sheen. It's very pretty, but it's a little harder to fold. And I actually had a little bit of black, and it's gotten a little black on here, which it just adds to the whole feeling. But I'm going to come in and with just a black chalk, sorry, this is brown, a little brown chalker. I like the feeling of this dusty pink color with the whites, and then I've got the burlap in there. And the brown to me just works a little better than black. And as you can see, it's picking up a lot of the fun little edges on there from where I distressed it. So it's got kind of that cleanness of the pastel colors added with the dirtiness almost of, and see, so if you've got a little crease, like I have a crease here, you can come in and the ink will just pick that up. I'm almost tempted to crumple this guy up here. See how you got those kind of ridges and crinkles, and then just lightly, and it just kind of picks them up. Just adding a little bit of a distress, like not much, just a little something on there. It's kind of a fun way to dress up your papers in a bit. I'm kind of digging having this white sheet of paper here. It's not getting my craft mat, my black one, super messy, and it's getting all the ink so I don't have to clean my mats. I'm kind of liking that. Okay, next up, take my tape runner and I'm going to glue all these layers down. Amazing what some scissors and a little bit of ink and roughing up the edges and adding layers already gives that vibe of a shabby chic, and there's hardly any work that went with that besides just some cutting, and I mean, didn't take that long. All right, to make sure that all these things pop, I am again going to ink them. Now this is the back side of one of the ephemera, but I love the shape of it, but I didn't want to have the saying. I just love the shape, so I'm going to use the shape. But I'm going to ink it so it pops a little better. So I'm also going to ink this, partly because notice these are very similar colors. They don't really stand out too well from each other, but I love the tag and it just fit perfectly with the design. And I really didn't want the white tag because I already had this with white, and white on white, it didn't look right. But now I can pop this in here, and with all the other layers, it's just a little peekaboo, something kind of hiding in the background. So this is where I tweak, and this piece does go up front like that. So that becomes kind of the anchor and the bedrock for the card. We then got this beautiful burlap, and I just cut it down to size, and it's just going to go right through the middle. I'm fine with the fact that most of my tag is not being seen. The whole point of this is that you're just getting a smidgen of something kind of poking through on the card. Now in the kit, we got a ton of flowers, and we also got these other two canvas tags. I thought they were just so cool. So we're going to layer these kind of right here. I'm actually tempted. I really want to do this. It's too short. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the sucker in half, and we're going to bring it up because it's going to get hidden, the fact that I cut it, by the burlap. And now you would never know that that piece is not as big as it is. You can also do that. I'm actually tempted to do it with the tag too. I want the tag to be a bit bigger. So if something is not the right size for you, this is a way to get a little more life. Look at that. So now I've raised it up, and now everything's not hiding so much. So when I add this piece in, you can still see all these beautiful layers. See? It's just adding those layers on top of each other. I love that. All right, one thing I do want to do though is I wanted to add some ribbon, and I'm debating, do I just want to have layers? This is just a white. Or do I want to loop it around? I'm tempted to loop it. This is where I have to play for a bit. All right, so I'm gonna hijack this trim right here, but I'm actually gonna take the tassels off because it doesn't really go with what it is. I can still use the tassels for something else. I'm just not gonna use it for this. And I just love the look of, we're gonna actually layer up our trim here. Like I said, I'm just trimming off little tassels. Such a cute trim, but the top of the trim rocks too. I mean, the whole thing is just so super cute. So don't be afraid to change up what's already there. I love the look of these, so I'm actually going to go ahead and glue these down. I'm going to use my Xyron sticker. And I'm just going to place down where I have my burlap so I know kind of where to place this. So that's going to go there. We want to have the illusion that it's actually connected, just separated, so that's going to go there. I'm using the lines actually on the paper as my guide. And then I got to place my other ones. So I'm going to have one line up here. I actually have it right about there. I don't want to have the tip of this little thing line up right there. It's too almost dead on, like it's too on the nose. So if you just separate it out a tiny bit, it seems to work to me. Okay, so now I don't have those pieces flying around. That gives me a base. Do I want to layer this on top? I kind of like that. Or here's another option. See, this is where I play a ton. I just can't make up my mind. I actually layer this on the bottom, so it's a little pokey sticking out here. And then I put this on top. And then I can add another layer with this ribbon right here. And just gives layer upon layer upon layer. I think I like that. All right, I'm just trimming off this little ribbon. It's just a tiny bit too long. I want to just have it kind of just lay there. Just like that. Now, I'm not going to glue anything down because I want to make sure I'm happy with it. I know I've got these little pieces coming on top. Ooh, I kind of like that better. I'm forcing these flowers on here and they're just not the right size for what I'm going for. So I think I kind of like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. I've got my picture. It's tweaking the last little bits. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue down using my best glue ever, adding layers of glue and then sticking everything down. All right, so now I've got those layers down. Now I can tweak and fiddle a little bit more with this. I know I want to have this flower come over here. I think I want to have that sprig, and I really do kind of want to keep this within the constraints of the card so I can fiddle around with other stuff later. So now this piece goes here. I'm going to put two butterflies on here, one here because I can. Ooh, I kind of like that. See, sometimes you just got to play and you got to see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take my picture again so I don't screw this up because I really like the way this looks. So go ahead and add my glue. There we go. Pretty little shabby chic card. I think I do want to add a little bit of a sentiment. I'm going to go back to my stamps. I still have my brown ink in, and I'm going to put in, just love the word beautiful, which works. So all I've done is I've taken a strip of paper. I'm not even going to get out a stamp block. I'm just going to use my fingers for this. And I'm going to ink up my stamp with the same color ink that I've already been using. And I'm just going to have this upside down, but it doesn't matter. I just basically got to fit it on here. Stamp it. And because it's shabby chic, I don't even need it to be perfect, but I want it better than that. That looks pretty crappy. Something about stamping upside down, I always screwed up. And I like that it's got darker areas and lighter areas. I'm weird when it comes to that. All right, just gotta clean my stamp off on my paper here. And I'm just gonna use my scissors to trim this up because it is so tiny. And I am gonna distress the edge of this and ink it too. Yeah, it got me thinking I can add the beautiful in there, but I can also add the UR as little other pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing like I just did. And there it is. I think I love that. I was trying to figure out if I want to tuck it in, but, or do you come over here? But I like the look of one and crop the other. You are beautiful. Kind of off center them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and glue these in. Taking a little bit of the leftover of my cardboard pop dots and just so that this has an anchor on this side because this is elevated, it doesn't have a place to stick. The butterflies are fine, they have enough that they can stick onto, and I like this flower is fine. I ended up going a little bit off the card, but that's okay. And there it is, card number 5. All right, we're gonna keep trucking along. This time we're gonna go back to a black card, and I pulled out this fun gingham crosshatch, whatever you want to call it, kind of paper in black. So it'd be a very black kind of card. I'm going back to my inking again. And I think that's the only piece I actually need to ink. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. And then just set it off to the side for a minute because we are going to use the embossing folder. So this embossing folder is so pretty. I love that you get one in the kit. And all I've done is I have cut out a small piece of like this silvery gray piece and it's already kind of had this beautiful shine to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and emboss this. We're going to take a look at that, and that's beautiful. Okay, so we're going to take this piece, but I'm going to add some layers on top of that. So we're going to take this fun piece of ribbon, and I'm going to do the tape method again because it's just easy. And tuck it behind. Just take a little piece, stick it down, wind up the other. I grab way too much. But there's big strips, there's tiny strips. I'm gonna go with a couple of the bigger ones. I just need 2. I probably could try to get away with 1, but I don't want to shortchange myself. They're kind of iridescent and pretty. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 1 on this side and kind of hug the ribbon that's on there. I'm going a little longer because I'm just going to cut them off. I mean, there's so many little strips on here. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to go 1 on this side. I'm just kind of bordering my ribbon there and then just cut them off. Make life super simple. I know my desk looks like a big giant mess, and there's a purpose for it. If I have all the items kind of sitting out in front of me, I am more than likely to use them. Like, I actually didn't think about doing these strips until about a minute before you guys did, until you saw me using it. In the corner of my eye, I saw the strip sitting there on the counter or on my desk. I'm like, ooh, that would look really pretty as kind of like a border between, like, on either side of the ribbon. But if it hadn't been sitting on my desk with all this mess, I wouldn't have seen it, and then it would have been like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So that's where I went with that. Okay, the next thing is I'm actually not too thrilled about how far over this is. I'm gonna scoot this over. I needed this further over, otherwise my little card right here, and I'm just double check, there we go. It was not gonna fit. So there we go. And you're just seeing a little hint of the embossing on here. It's not in your face, it's just a titch of it. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna run this through my my sticker maker just to make this one big giant sticker. I'm really getting a use out of my sticker maker here with all these ephemera pieces. And I'm going to lay this right in the middle. There's a couple reasons for not elevating this up. One, it's gonna kind of hold the ribbon down so it doesn't wiggle all over the place. So it's giving it an anchor. And then I'm gonna place my little flowers that I got on the top and the bottom. This I do need a glue for. And that's as hard as that gets. I love this saying that this gives. I'm not perfect, but I am the perfect me. Isn't that awesome? There it is. Card 6 is done. All right, we are trucking along and moving on to card number 7. All right, I start off with a white card base, as you can see here. I am going to ink the edges, and then I also put that pretty blue because I want to bring in these tassels that I've cut off. So this is going to be the tassel card. And I'm actually going to emboss this sheet. I should have not inked it first. I kind of forgot I was embossing it. Now we're going to do a series of strips, and that's why I have my paper trimmer out, is because I do need to cut these down. It's going to be a series of strips. They're going to go vertically down, and this one's going to go here like this, but I'm going to turn them into the pennant. So it's got the little triangle cut out of the bottom. So that's where this guy comes back in. Now the length of my card is 5.5, but then I cut the blue sheet that we've embossed down to 5.25, but I don't want this to come anywhere close. So I think I'm gonna go to 4 3/4, and I'm gonna look. I wanna see what the lengths of all these pieces are. I don't want them to, like, this is too close, so I gotta cut this one. I want my burlap piece to actually be the longest one. So this is gonna be cut to 4.5. So when I do layers like this, I like to try and have them at all different lengths and usually different widths as well, just for a change and kind of a difference. I think that looks good. And now you see a little bit of everything. They're all kind of sitting there. Actually, I think that looks okay. I'm gonna have the burlap, it just fits better if it's sitting on top. So we're gonna go ahead and cut our, flip it over, and we're gonna cut our pennant. I think I'm going to try the longer piece, and then the shorter piece, and then this piece. There, I like that. And you see a little bit of the pennants on all of them. I'm going to go ahead and ink these up and glue everything down. All right, you can kind of see the glue through there, but it will dry clear. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken this pretty little tag, and of course it matches in. I mean, perfect. How can you not love that? And I'm just going to go ahead and first I'm going to string this through because we're going to make it look like a little, we're going to have a bow here. I'm just going to trim this off right now. There it is. And then we are going to, I keep saying we, like you're right here. I will pretend that you are all sitting here admiring what I'm doing right in front of me. All right, and I'm just gonna do a like a knot, quickie knot, and tie it up. And then we're gonna do a bow on top of that. I really should not have tied this, but I wanted to look like it was actually attached. And then we're gonna put those couple of tassels in there, almost like the tassels are hanging from my bow. We're gonna fake it though. There's no good way for me to attach the tassels because I've cut them off of, I forgot I put sticky on there. I've cut them off of the ribbon. I love the tassels. It just doesn't quite fit with the feel of what I'm doing. All right, so I'm gonna place this on here. I'm gonna come back to my sticky stuff that I have. And because it's looking lopsided, I'm just gonna apply a little bit right here. And it's about the right height too that we need. And right here, so it's already two-sided, which is why I'm sticking to my fingers. And there we go. Put the rest back on here. Save that for later. And I'm going to fake putting on these little tassels. I'm just going to put 2 of them, and I love the blue, kind of keeping with the blue thing. There is a hint of a pink on that little camera, but then I am going to tie a little bow with this to kind of cover up that space. Now, when I do bows, to make sure the tails are facing both the same direction, I do the bunny ear method. So I have 2 little ears, and I'm going to tie. And then the tails end up on the same place. Now, I don't need a giant bow. I just need enough to kind of cover up and fake out my little tassel scenario. And the tassels or the little tails will look cute. Probably could have gotten away with longer tails, but that's okay. And so now it looks like the tassels. And then a big blob of glue in the center. That thing does not want to stay down once I put it on. And then just kind of tie the bow on top. The glue, this is why I tied it, because you're going to see a little bit of that black up there. The glue will dry clear, so I'm not worried about that. And then I'm going to come in, add a little sticker here, just right along the side, right there that says, I am creative. And so sometimes your sentiment can be just nice and small, just a little something. Really easy. And then we're going to do some of our sequin. So in here we have a nice little variety. I'm going to pull out the ones that are kind of these iridescent. I'm going to go ahead and place my dots, and then I have my little emballé gelée, which is a stick that I put a sticky on, and it's really easy to apply sequins. So this is like my favorite sequin thing. I just got a little bit of the sticky stuff, apply it to the tip here. So it's just like a little ball on the tip of this, and I'm going to apply a little bit of sequins, not too many, just dab. I have one here, I have one there. You don't need to overdo it, it's already got a lot going on. And just taking, I think I'm going to do my big ones. Now, when I put my sequins on, I like to flip them so that the cup is facing upwards. So there's a kind of like a bottom to the sequin, and then there's a top to the sequin. See how easy that is to place it on there? I like the cup facing down, or it to be flared upwards. I feel like it just looks like it's more finished. Oh, I got a 2-for-1 deal on that one. There we go. Actually, I think I'm gonna put a couple little ones. I'm gonna put one right here. It just feels unfinished. Just adds a little something happening on there. Card number 7 is done. Moving on to card number 8. We're trucking along. Woohoo! I really feel like this is going speedy this time. Okay, I have just pulled out, and I'm not going to ink this. This is going to be very super simple. This is just an easy layered card. No muss, no fuss. Adding the layers down. I'm loving like this, the simple colors. This has already done half the work for me because it already has like a set of layers. I love this cute little house, so we're just going to kind of nestle that on top of there. I could easily get my sticker maker out, but I'm trying to go for the no muss, no fuss look. Oh, crap. I meant to do the white on that heart. Okay, so Byron has this really cool thing. It's called a sticker remover for this exact reason. You can go in and basically remove the sticker. It erases any sticky. It was like it was never there. The reason why I did that is because if I added this heart, it's just too much. But I add a clean white and it works. It's just there's too many colors, and I just put the adhesive on the wrong side was the bottom line. So it's just a way of kind of fixing that little problem. So I'm just anchoring the hearts behind the house. This one, screw it. I'm just going to do, I really should get out my sticker maker, and it's sitting right there, but I'm being lazy. And I'm just going to put this so blessed, so loved. Sorry, that's it. I'm going to grab a couple little stickers. Those cute little heart stickers, just kind of little heart there. You could do the sequins instead if you wanted to, but I'm just playing with using some of these pretty little hearts, just layering it up. Just a few more hearts because it kind of goes with the feel of what's on there. I have a little bit of yellow. There's really all the colors are on here, so I can kind of go with whatever. 1, 2, so let me count my layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm done. I mean, if I wanted to, I could count the oval and the flower bouquet, but I'm still good. So even if you count because you want to do odd numbers, that's why I keep counting. So if I did oval, flower, that's 2, house is 3, so loved is 4, the big heart is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It still adds up to be an odd number, so I am good. And that's as hard as that card gets. That's card number 8 done. All right, so here's card number 9. Now, I absolutely fell in love with this little bouquet thing. It's a sticker that was on the sticker sheet, so I just stuck it down on this kind of gray, shiny metallic paper. It looks kind of funny being a square. I just want to liven it up, so I'm just going to round the corners. Sometimes that's all it takes to make a square sheet of paper or even a rectangle look kind of fun. You just round the corners, and it just, I don't know, it does something to it. Whatever it is, I will go with it. All right, I am going to ink this because I am going to stamp on this card. I really love the look when I added the strips to the sides of the previous card. So I'm going to find the biggest 2 strips I can find. I'm going to do the same concept. Do one at a time. And this is a very iridescent, so it's just this hint of something there. You can still see through the card. I just think it's pretty fun. So I picked out I Am Here For You, and I was going to make sure that I'm reading it properly. And I love that, again, you can layer it up and top, top and bottom. So it gives me this perfect space right here to go ahead and stamp on that. So catch my stamp. Of course, my card comes flying off because, like magnets, this is why I put the washi tape when they want to stick together. Sometimes the card gets a little sticky. And I'm just going to shift my card. I don't feel like readjusting my stamp, so I'm just going to move the card over. Usually I try and butt my card all the way up into the corner of my MISTI, but it's okay. All right. ink it up, kind of clean up anywhere where I screwed up with my finger. That's why my finger was black before and got one of the cards black. Come in, stamp well. There it is, didn't stick. I am here for you. Perfect, did a great job. And I like the way that I'm here for you, even though I put it on a little bit of an angle, it still works. All right, using my paper here to clean my stamps off. I'm really digging this paper. I've actually seen people, they sell like craft mat papers that you use once and you throw away. Kind of like what's in the back of my Misty here. Same concept, but it's big and it fits on your craft desk. And you know, for stuff like this, for just card making, and I'm not doing anything that's super sticky, there's no mists and stuff like that, I might have to invest in getting some of those things. If you know of a good one, let me know, because I'd be interested. All right, I am going to add my little drops. I like my drops in the corner. Again, I'm going to get some scratch sheet paper. Got paper in here somewhere. That's just yuck. And I'm actually going to make these quite large. So I just practiced doing some really big dots, and that's what I'm going to go for. It's got my hands all sticky. Heads up, this one is Sea Breeze, which I think is really pretty. The dots bigger, you just squeeze longer. It's going to pull up into a little dot, which I think is perfect. This will take longer because there's more in it. And again, it's doing a pretty good job of doming up, but I'm just going to tap the back of my card. And this one, I really do need to make sure that it gets set off somewhere different. So I actually have a different spot, but now we are done with card number 9. All right, we're at the end. This is card number 10. Okay, so all I've done is I've cut out some layers. I started with the white, and I'm actually going to heavily ink this because I don't want it to look too white. So I really want to get in here and kind of rough it up because it looks a little funny being super white against all these other dark colors. So now it looks like I'm really doing a number on it, but now it doesn't look so stark and funny against, that's just me. And I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of all these, except for that silvery or gunmetal looking paper. I don't think it needs it. So all I'm doing now is I'm just coming in. I don't know why I just flipped that paper over. It's the exact same front to back. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to add this in front to back. And before I add my last strip, I'm going to come in with these iridescent pieces, and I'm going to add, I think 3, kind of going towards the bottom. Again, in one of the thicker sections. So I'm going to go ahead and pull 3 off. It's iridescent, so it's going to kind of pop on the card really well. So it's not going to take away from all the other colors that are happening. Okay, I'm just going to do one at a time then, because I can't seem to grab 3 at the same time. And just come across the card. That's the top one. And then I'm going to go down from there. Now, I have been eyeing this amazing forever, but it didn't really fit on any other card. I had a hard time with it, so I thought it would look really cool just right here at the bottom. That's it. Super simple. You don't have to get any fancier than that. And that is card number 10. So there it is, 10 cards we created with one kit from the Love from Leslie April kit. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.